Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the Paladinolive network. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awijan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every single one of you, and I mean every one of you, for downloading and listening to this show. It is a historic pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. As the Minnesota Timberwolves, well, of course, there have been 3 games since the last episode, but the most important one is the one the most recent one is the one that matters the most. Game 5 was hideous. Game 6 was an absolute butt-kicking. Game 7 was a gut-wrenching back-and-forth kind of deal that ended up with the Minnesota Timberwolves absolutely stymieing the Denver Nuggets throughout the second half or so of the third quarter and into the fourth quarter, and are on our way to the Western Conference Finals with a Game 7 win in Denver, dethroning the Denver Nuggets in quite incredible fashion indeed. First of all, I want to apologize to anybody and everybody that may have seen my insane frustrations and just, over-the-top anger as things went so sideways late in the first quarter, all of the second quarter for the most part, and early in the third. I mean, the Wolves trailed by 20. At one point in this game, they trailed by 20 points. But there's a never-say-die attitude on this team right now that, well, what did I say? If the Timberwolves got past the Nuggets, what did I tell you at the beginning of the playoffs? The sky's the limit. What did I tell you? After the Suns, if somehow we got past the Nuggets, the sky's the limit. So what am I saying right now? I'm saying the sky's the limit, folks. The sky's the limit. I mean, if you can beat Denver in a series, they have home court advantage, and the way they kicked our butts in games 3, 4, and 5, to come back and do a Minnesota Twins 87 and 91 style in such unbelievable fashion, even though we were the road team, to win 3 games in Denver. 3 games in Denver. If you simply protect home court like you did against the Phoenix Suns, this team is a championship caliber team. There's no doubt. We are the last one standing now in the Western Conference of the Big 3. The last one, Oklahoma City, of course, again eliminated in 6 games by the Dallas Mavericks after a furious rally in Game 6 on their home court. Dallas is OKC had to survive Game 6 on the road to get to Game 7, which maybe they would have won because of the momentum and all that good stuff. But a lot of important statistics were on the Timberwolves side in this, winning Game 6 the way the Wolves did, with the momentum going into Game 7, regardless if you're the home or the road club. That club was historically in that situation, but coming back in that situation to come back, to tie it up, 10-3. So pretty impressive fashion right there. So the Timberwolves end up surviving. One of the great Game 6s here, our Game 7s of all time, and we're one of the great series in the playoffs. Unfortunately, there were a lot of ugly blowouts, but this one was kind of similar to Game 1 in a lot of ways, and I had a feeling the whole time it was going to be similar to Game 1. It was going to be close, and then whoever it is, it would kind of be all over at the end of the day. Game 1 was the only close game in this entire series, wasn't it? For the most part, Game 5 was kind of close, but it went pear-shaped as things progressed. Game 1, 98-90. So that's kind of almost the same as the Timberwolves won 106-99. It's almost the same score. See, after that, Game 2 was an absolute obliteration. Murray went absolutely ballistic and lost his mind. Now, Game 3, what am I looking at? Okay, I'm looking at the wrong scores here, aren't I? This is backwards. Okay, 106-99 was Game 1. 106, the Wolves did 106 2 games in a row to 80. That was Game 2. Yeah, and then Denver came into our house and beat us by 27, 117-90. It's just like, it's like Game 1 was a close one. It was a 7-point game. Wolves won by 36, 30. Man, that's crazy. Was it 36? Yeah. No, 26. The Wolves won by 26, but it felt like even more in Denver in game 2. And then 117-90, Denver came to our house. It was just devastating. Beautiful, beautiful Northern Lights. I was distracted by that the whole time. But then you got to see the, you got to see the... You got to see the Northern Lights and everything, but I mean, well, as I'm watching it on mobile, because I had to do both, I had to be outside. Come on, and the weather was wonderful. And you're seeing the Wolves get obliterated. It was freaking depressing at the end of the day. So yes, and then Game 4 was also, it's just, you never. It was a fairly close game, but the Timberwolves just kind of, things just didn't work out. Of course, again, obviously the Jamal Murray throw in the stupid hacky sack. No, I mean the heating pad on the court. It's just, you just knew things would go pear-shaped in Game 3. Of course, Denver is fighting for survival. They're the defending champs, and it's like, screw you, we're not going away. Game 4, was just kind of disappointing. I mean, the Wolves probably should have won that game, and they just simply didn't. Obviously, calls didn't go our way, and that was insanely frustrating. Game 5 was kind of like, it felt like what this game was headed towards. Late, kind of midway through the second quarter, it just felt like Game 5 all over again. Like, it's going to be just it's just going to be depressing. We're going to end up getting back and forth. Every time we think we have a chance, Denver goes up by 10 or 15 again, hits another 3 or whatever. But that, thankfully for the Timberwolves, that never came. Denver kept missing their shots. Then they'd make them, but then Jamal Murray went from a guy who couldn't miss or anything to a guy who wasn't really able to put up the shots that he wanted to. Still wound up with over 30. So obviously a great game for Jamal Murray, as much as I have acted like an absolute maniac about Jamal Murray this whole series. So I apologize for my craziness. Sometimes it's a competitiveness and you want to win so bad. I don't know. And I know that's not really becoming of a podcast host, just trying to be objective. It's just, I don't know, some players drive you nuts, and it is what it is. How often has this team been to the conference finals? Twice. Ironically, both cases, we will have home court advantage. Hopefully this time the Timberwolves get the job done. That year's team did not get it done on the road. That year's team back in 2004, that was the big frustration. The Timberwolves really couldn't get the job done on the road that much. Obviously in LA, it didn't work out at all. Though, no, the Wolves did win Game 3, but then it went completely pear-shaped as things progressed, and the Lakers ended up beating us, and a guy named Kareem Rush went absolutely nuts. It was really annoying. But then Game 6 happened, and it was an absolute demolition. It was beautiful. The Timberwolves were fighting for survival. After Denver fought for survival, and then eventually tied it up, and of course the Wolves blow the doors off of the Denver Nuggets in such impressive fashion, and you feel like $1 million after that. And you think, okay, I mean, hopefully the Timberwolves didn't use up all of their energy and all of their whatever, euphoria, so to speak, in one game. You got to get it done in Game 7. And it was a very classic Wolves and Denver game in a lot of ways. Kind of back and forth, run here, run there. And then it ends up being 98-90. And how many times did the Wolves come up short in games like this, 98-90? And then how many times this year, though, did the Wolves come up ahead in these lower scoring games? That was kind of the story of the season. When it was a high scoring 115 type of game, Denver wins. Except for Game 6 when the Wolves just blew their doors off. They only scored 70 points in the game because they shot terribly. Thankfully, again, Denver, they looked like they were going to hit their shots a little bit more, but then Jokic missed, his first 7 threes, and then he wound up finally making a couple, and that's when I started getting nervous, like, great, see, now he's making them, and of course he gets every call in the history of the world, but at the end of the day, just the stick-to-itiveness of this team at the end of the day. So we'll look at the numbers of Game 6 just for fun. I mean, since we're in celebratory fashion here, I wouldn't even have probably looked at it. The Wolves ended up losing a Game 5 type of fashion. It was a total team effort in a lot of ways. The defense was absolutely smothering for the most part. It wasn't like anybody came out and torched everyone, but the fact that Jaden McDaniels went from a guy who was averaging like 6 points a game, basically in this series, to a guy who shot 8 for 10 and was hitting corner threes. It was freaking awesome. He hit his corner shots, his corner threes. Naz Reid couldn't make a whole lot, but he was a big factor in Game 7. Thank you very much, Naz. Let me tell you. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, only 3-pointers attempted, 3 of 5. Again, so 9 points. This is, again, Game 6. Towns played. See, the difference, Towns' numbers aren't all that great, except for the 13 rebounds and 5 assists. Only 10 points, missing all 4 of his threes, but he played a solid, smart game of basketball versus game 4 where he felt like he was like losing his mind out there. It was just terrible. And I gave him a hell of a time on the last episode. I gave him a hell of a time. Gobert, just a non-factor. Yeah, he got his rebounds and everything, but it just felt like he was kind of, okay, this is game 6, pardon me. Gobert did his part by getting the rebounds and everything, but yeah, offensively, not much really to brag about. Anthony Edwards was solid, 27 points, just solid game and all that. But again, it was more of a total team effort, and the fact that Conley was out there and the offense felt more like it flowed. And that was the difference in Game 6 in a lot of ways. Back to Game 7, which is obviously the feature presentation of this episode. I don't even need to throw the soundbite in. We all know it was the feature presentation of this episode in so many ways. Anthony Edwards absolutely sucked in the first half. What did he have, like 2 points or something? I mean, it was, excuse me, he had 4, right? Oh, I'm so sorry. I think he made a layup really late or something. It's like, yay. And it just felt like this was, it's over. Hell with this. We're down by 15. It's in Denver. I mean, okay. And then I put out the tweet of Destiny, which, okay, it was partially came true. It was the tweet of Destiny, and I was kind of hoping that tweet would come back to be the right, to be something right there. So let me see. I'm distracted here. I was saying to anybody irritated with all my negativity, I apologize. I'm just so happy right now. And Tanae Brown, brother, I was right there with you. Yep, and I'm right with you here, brother, as well. Tanae Brown out of New Zealand, of course. Yep, this is going to be a 1-segment shot. It's going to be, like fan interaction with talking game review. This is going to be one segment. There's going to be no real sound bites except for the one of absolute joy there a minute ago, like, Cecil becoming a paladin in Final Fantasy IV. It's that big of a deal. That's why you heard that beautiful sound where the Wolves advanced past the first round for the first time in 20 years. You heard that last series. You're hearing it again. And if I could, without a copyright bullcrap, kicking my videos off of YouTube if I try, videos, podcast off of YouTube, I would put in, you did it in a minute. Like, wow, they did it, because it's, but then again, in a lot of ways, I've wanted to always put that one, if a team finally wins the conference, we're finally in the final, like, wow, the Super Bowl, the World Series or the Stanley Cup Finals, finals. But the NBA Finals are 4 wins away. The Wolves can protect home court, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and win a road game or 2. Well, the Minnesota Timberwolves will be in the NBA Finals, which is a beautiful thing. And now it's a real possibility. And frankly, I'd be disappointed if they aren't. Because it's not because I'm cocky about the Dallas Mavericks. It's because the Timberwolves should beat the Dallas Mavericks. They should. Home court. We've played them well this year. Obviously, not perfectly. They're a very dangerous, very, very dangerous team. But, and it's shown. But I do believe the Timberwolves are a better team, and they need to go out there and continue to prove that. If you can beat this Denver Nuggets team on the road, you'd better be able to do it versus the Dallas Mavericks as well, but also be able to protect home court. Don't get beaten by 37 or 27 points at home, by the Dallas Mavericks. Don't get beat by the Mavericks at all at home. That's the whole thing. I mean, that's what kind of messed up the OKC Thunder. So, unfortunately for them, it wasn't their year for that reason. So that's just kind of how things went this year for the OKC Thunder. But they have about 1 million draft picks still coming. And they have Chet Holmgren and Shea and blah, blah, blah. So, believe me, I was not going to be cocky going into a series versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Would I believe the Wolves can win it? Yes, because the Wolves have won in OKC this year. There were some epic battles of that team all season. And the Wolves looked like the slightly better team the whole time. Denver, kind of, sort of, back and forth, and just the fact that they're so dangerous and Jamal Murray can go out for 40 points, this and that. He's not looking for a fight, at least. So all the crap I said about Jamal Murray, yeah, he can be a jackass, but at the same time, he's not really nearly, compared to Devin Booker. He's like he's like an angel compared to Devin Booker, where that guy's literally looking for a fight every time he's on the court. So again, sometimes it's just unnecessary competitive juices coming out because you want to win so freaking bad. It's just, you get frustrated. And of course, the fact that Jamal Murray has torched this team every damn game we've played against him. Not every game, but many games. Obviously not game 2 and not game 6 in this series, but several games throughout his career because of the because the Wolves passed on him in the draft for Chris Stinkin' Dunn. And believe me, we're all frustrated. Now I don't need to get into the draft for Jamal Murray, so I better move on. But yeah, Nickeil Alexander-Walker had probably his worst game ever. What the hell, dude? What's up with that? 5 open corner threes. Even missed it like a gimme as well. That was his 2-point shot missed. 17 minutes and 15 seconds of poop, basically. He got an assist, minus 11 when he was out there, but he missed all 5 of the corner threes he took, and I was losing my mind. Come on, Walker, what the hell? He was gnaw. I mean, it was gnaw. You're not making anything. So the fact the Wolves can win a Game 7 on the road with gnaw, not making a single shot. Anthony Edwards absolutely sucking, and I mean terrible. Missing everything in the first quarter and finally getting to like 2 points and eventually 4, but then coming up in the clutch for the most part. And also not forcing up shots, despite the fact he did take 24 attempts in the game. But that was kind of early on where he's just kind of like, okay, let's get going here. He's telling himself that basically. But then, not forcing up stupid shots and kind of holding on, and then setting up other players, be it a full assist or a second assist. Anthony Edwards' 7 assists were 7 biggest assists of his life so far. Hopefully he's got some bigger ones coming in the next round and hopefully even a round beyond where this team could legitimately win an NBA championship. They can. Jaden McDaniels plays like he did the past 2 games. The Timberwolves, if he can be consistently near where he was in Game 6 and tonight, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win the NBA championship. 23 points, 7 of 10. Absolutely beautiful defense, aggressive, smart shots, not losing his mind at all. Did get 4 personal fouls, but they were calling a significant amount of fouls in this game, especially every time Jokic touched it. It was a foul on the Timberwolves pretty much. Oh, yeah, that's frustrating. Gobert was absolutely freaking pitiful for about 2.5 quarters. And I mean, it was like, just send him to Siberia. I can't take anymore. Just go. Just go. Go, Rudy. You suck. And I was tweeting out that both Rudy Gobert, and Mike Conley, I don't know what the heck was going on with him either. He was jittery. He was making mistakes. He was forcing up weird shots. It's like, what's going on? Is he Anthony Peeler or something? Is he D'Lo? Like he was playing like D'Lo at times, putting up some of the dumbest shots. This is Mike Conley. This is the adult in the room. It was weird. It was like he was completely out of his element for multiple quarters, and then he calmed down. And then Rudy Gobert just went from a guy who, couldn't even hang on to the ball. He was pulling down some of the best rebounds. It was like the early indicators when he got a really nice block on Michael Porter. I almost called him Kevin again. He's a Pittsburgh Steeler, I believe, formerly. Michael Porter Jr., nice block on him. Naz Reid also a couple blocks. He was called for in the cylinder on one, and God, he was mad. I believe it was he was knocking the ball away, and then that ended up being another Jokic basket because they called it in the cylinder. And I could just read his lips. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Like it wasn't. It was close, but it was not in the cylinder. This is not a homer talking. That ball was not in the cylinder. Kyle Anderson in the 4 minutes he played. Actually, he was pretty good, and thank you. It was a couple of clutch free throws. He made some nice defense. He made a couple of good defensive plays. So that was actually really good. So even if it's just 4 minutes, Kyle, you did a good job, man. And I'm serious. He did well. So thanks. Really, I'm serious. That was right about the time when things started to feel a tiny bit better for a minute there. Like maybe this team could come back. Maybe not. Maybe not. And then, I don't know, as that third quarter progressed, Gobert started hitting clutch shots. I mean, Gobert hitting clutch shots. That was awful. Like, he didn't have a freaking point in the game. And then he started making clutch shots. He was playing good, solid defense and frustrating the Denver Nuggets. And I tweeted out that both Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley never got to the conference final with Utah because they just don't have it for whatever reason. That's like because they would just lose their minds for whatever reason. They just didn't have it. Like they wouldn't step up. But down the stretch, Conley was pretty clutch. Obviously, hit a couple of huge corner threes when the Wolves started to pull ahead in this game, which felt like something that was just never going to happen. Like, oh my God, 68-67. The Wolves are ahead. They were down by 20 a quarter ago, basically. The Wolves are ahead. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Couldn't believe it. It was weird and it was wonderful. Weird and wonderful, if you could put those two words together. Conley and Gobert shook off whatever it was, whatever curse or frustration or whatever was hanging over them. They got rid of it. Dang it. They exercised that demon. And hallelujah. Another guy that exercised demons, again, he played so smart in Game 6. Played a smart game, even though the stats weren't all that great. But was the shining light in this game when Anthony Edwards couldn't hit jack swat. Conley was just jittering all over the place. Rudy Gobert, we didn't know what planet he was on. I mean, he was in another planet. I mean, he might have been in a different solar system the first 2.5 quarters. I don't know who the heck that was out there. It was embarrassing. It was like terrible. But Karl Anthony Towns had it all night. He didn't shoot particularly well from outside, only 1 of 6. But all night, Karl Anthony Towns' defense on Jokic was enough. It was, as good as Jokic was, for the most part. What did he have? 34. Yeah, obviously anything close, he's pretty much going to make it. Like Jokic, anything relatively close, those baby hooks and such, they're just going in, and you have to accept it. Murray started missing from outside, and it's just, Jokic couldn't make anything from outside. We kept letting him shoot it. Porter finally hit one, and I was like, shoot, right when we thought maybe this game was over, the Nuggets got within 5, but thankfully everything worked out in the long run. Pope hit a 3 at one point to kind of, again, that was fairly early. Christian Braun, you thought he was going to drive us crazy, but thankfully didn't work out for him either. Wolves hold Porter to 4. Aaron Gordon only was able to attempt 5 field goals. The 2 baskets he made were both dunks, basically, like offensive rebounds. That's what they were. He had 4 offensive rebounds in the game. The Wolves rendered Aaron Gordon just about useless in this one, and that was wonderful. So that's kind of what Chris Finch is looking at. Like, their field goal percentages are pretty bad. Even though they're up by 15, whatever, at the half, they still have a chance. That's what Chris Finch just recently said in the post-game press conference, pardon me. But for this team to survive the way they did, when Jamal Murray was just like, what did he have, 20 points in the first quarter? It just felt like we're dead. We're bleeped. He's going to get like 45. Well, he did get 35. Again, a floater again and a couple of good shots that kind of kept them in it. And at the end of the day, the Wolves contained Jamal Murray enough and contained Nikola Jokic enough. Again, forcing him to throw up 3-pointers. Again, 2 of 10 isn't going to get it done, but he did make 2 out of his last 3, I believe, because he was 0 for 7, then he was 1 for 8, 2 for 9, and then missed the last one. And that was kind of down the stretch as the game kind of started to wear on. So an amazing statistic that was brought up this week, I believe, it's Mackey and Judd. It's Phil Mackey. It might have been on Flagrant Howls, but it also, I think, was brought up on Minnesota Sports, Mackey and Judd, that thing. So it's the same deal. Same guys, just different name of the podcast feed or whatever. That Michael Jordan has the number 2 player efficiency rating in the history of the NBA. Number 2. Who's number 1? Nikola Jokic. Number 1 all time. And that this could be one of those walls that the Wolves would have to run into forever. And it's like, no, please, not again. The whole time Garnett was here, some of those years where the Wolves, you could just tell they were never going to be able to overcome the Spurs or the Lakers. And ironically, the year the Wolves were the number 1 seed, the Spurs were knocked out by the Lakers, so we'd have to face one of them in the conference final, and it ended up being the Lakers. I thought the Wolves would have a shot against the Spurs. And, Cassell's back went out because he did the big ball dance. Supposedly that helped cause the injury. I don't know. I don't think so. It probably, put it over the top, though. Maybe there was already, damage kind of starting to happen, and that kind of pushed it over the top. But, whatever. Conley, just, again, stay healthy and don't get jittery on us again. And be that smart adult in the room. Gobert plays some nice, solid defense. The Wolves have a real chance. Against the Denver Nuggets, against the Dallas Mavericks. We're going to look at them in a moment. We got to look at it. We have to look at them. But what an amazing turn of events in this game. The stick-to-itiveness of this team does have me believe they can win the NBA title. And the sky is the limit. The way they were able to stick through this. This reeked of a Denver 117, Minnesota 98. That's what it felt like, or like 100, whatever. 102, whatever the heck. but like double-digit win by Denver, comfortable. They pull away. They whatever if they have to make free throws down the stretch, but they of course they make them. The clock runs out, and the frustration is on. And okay, Denver might be this wall for this team, but well, Anthony Edwards, despite shooting terribly in the game, started making some huge shots, including a huge three that put the Wolves up by I forget if it was either 9 or 10. I apologize, but absolutely massive three-pointer that put the Wolves in just about dagger mode. Obviously, that was before Michael Porter Jr. hit his three, and of course, it was a 5-point run by the Nuggets, and like that was about 5 seconds. I think it was a Jamal Murray floater and a Michael Porter three. So it was like Jiminy Christmas. Like the lead is cut in half in like frickin' 20 seconds. It's like, come on. But the Wolves still end up surviving it. Running the clock down and making some big plays. Karl Anthony Towns, a massive offensive rebound off of, I believe it was an Ant turnaround miss. That was the one that actually wrapped the game up. The one before that, where it was another Ant miss from three-point range, was a beautiful, crazy put-in by Naz Reid, that thankfully was not in the cylinder or anything crazy like that. But yes, we celebrate Kevin Garnett's 48th birthday. That's flashing on the screen right now. Turnaround jump shot over Chris Webber, who, that's who you don't want to be. You don't want your best player to be Chris Webber. As talented as he was, he didn't have it. And me and Marcus the Forecaster sat and talked for hours yesterday. Got to see Marcus the Forecaster in person for the first time in a long time. We'll just leave it at that. It was, and then, by the way, the Timberwolves did win the season series versus Dallas 3-1. So there we go. We'll get back to that. We haven't played since the trade deadline. Interesting stats there. But yeah, me and Marcus the Forecaster met and talked for hours about that at the end of the day. But yeah, mostly as I was losing my train of thought here. Chris Webber wasn't the kind of guy that could get you over the hump. He just wasn't. And of course, it all kind of led back to that stupid timeout when there was no timeouts left, and it cost, it helped cost Michigan a national championship years ago versus Duke. Great game. That was in the Metrodome back in good old 92 when the Bulls were the best team in the world back in those days. I mean, talk about a wall. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking at the Mavericks right now. We got next, Minnesota, Dallas. Minnesota's number 3, Dallas number 5. Over in the East, Boston's number 1, and what is it, Indiana 6, right? That's pretty wild. So, pretty wild. I knew Indiana was a threat and that they could win in the first round versus the Bucks, but man, they're in the conference finals. Dang. That was a wild series back in the day. You see Reggie Miller get to the conference final, this and that. He finally broke through and got to the NBA finals in 2000, but then it was a brand new wall, the Shaq and Kobe wall. So that was annoying. To say the least. But yeah, Chris Webber, that was who we were talking about. Just couldn't get you over the hump, and thankfully, Wolves don't have a guy like that. We were sort of calling Anthony Towns that a bit, Karl Anthony Towns. I called him Kirk Cousins in the last episode, but I'd have to say he's overcome that, and keep doing it, Karl. Keep doing it. Don't be that Kirk Cousins guy, okay? Don't be Kirk Cousins where it's just stats. Be a guy that's a winner, and it'll be beautiful to see Karl Anthony Towns holding a Larry O'Brien Trophy someday, very soon here. Hopefully in how many weeks would it be? Like about 4 weeks, about a month from now, 3.5, 4 weeks from now. Hopefully we see that. And it's a big celebration. Chris Finch, whether he's on crutches or not at that point, probably. So yeah, I can't imagine he's going to be like Mr. Mobile jumping around and like he's on a trampoline out there. But absolute excitement and happiness right now, no doubt. Unfortunately, the celebration can't last too long, even though it is time to celebrate, yes, a little bit, but not over the top. No reason to celebrate over the top because we're halfway there. As crazy and stupid as that sounds, you got to win 16 games to win an NBA championship. We've won 8. So, well, back to work, right? Back to work. I know it's what it is, right? It's what it is. Dallas Mavericks, again, a nice job overcoming the OKC Thunder. This is what people were talking about during our game when Denver was kicking our ass in the first half, basically. That hey, Dallas overcame it, But they were at home, so give them, that's part of it. Also, to their credit, though, they'd taken a 3-2 lead already, so that was a big thing. We were the team that was down 3-2. Shea did have 36, obviously, great game for him and all that. Isaiah Joe, that's a weird one. Chet Holmgren, obviously an absolute threat, but he only had 3 rebounds in the game. That cannot help. Dallas, all about field goal percentage there, no doubt about it. Gafford, huh? So that's the center that Gobert could be going up against, I suppose. Otherwise, you have Derrick Jones Jr. and P.J. Washington Jr. So not exactly Jamal Murray or anything, but no, I mean, Jaden McDaniels is probably going to, well, we'll see. You got Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving. So Anthony Edwards is going to be on one of them. I'm guessing Jaden McDaniels will be on the other. That's most likely going to be the case. Well, I mean, obviously Conley's going to have to be out there on, maybe it'll be Conley on Irving, but you're going to see you guys switching around, I'm sure. Because you can't just have Jaden McDaniels on him all the time. Because who would, I mean, obviously Conley has to guard somebody as well. So it's going to kind of have to depend on things. If Kyrie Irving shoots 9 of 23, though, and, I think the Wolves could beat the Mavericks. Yeah. Luka Doncic, obviously the triple-doubles are a big thing. 10 rebounds, 10 assists. But he did get 7 turnovers, and you hope that the Wolves can force him into situations like that where he's a bit of a mess. So Luka Doncic versus the Timberwolves, Kyrie Irving versus the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, and Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels versus the Dallas Mavericks. I like our lineup more. I mean, obviously those two guys are a huge threat, but after that, yeah, Derek Lively the second. That's an interesting name. He's all over the place. 15 rebounds. Whew. So he's had his moments. Derrick Jones Jr., he had 22 points in the game. He can hit some threes. But, what is he, 8.5 points, 3.5 rebounds throughout his season here. 3-point percentage, 34%. So it's like, I don't know. Is he a massive threat? Maybe, but probably not. I think the Wolves can beat these guys. And why the heck not? Why the heck not? Why shouldn't the Wolves be able to take these guys out in 5 or 6? I would hope. If it comes to Game 7 in Target Center, I guess so be it. But you hope not. You hope not. The Timberwolves, again, did win the season series 3-1. But a lot of times one of these guys was out. So if one of them is out, they're dead, I think. I think the Mavericks are dead if one of these guys are out. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been a nice role player in the past. He was relegated to only 6 minutes in this game, even though the fact he averaged almost 15 points a game in the regular season. He's become a wonderful piece throughout the league. He's a guy that I wanted the Wolves to have many years ago. Didn't we draft him? Or no, I'm thinking about the other guy. What's that guy's name? Big Dog's son, Glenn Robinson Jr. Yeah, so that was the other one. Yeah, I don't think we ever got to Tim Hardaway. Did we? Or like we missed out on him. Oh, yeah, 2013. Yeah, that was Corgi and Shabazz. Yeah, he's okay. He's okay. Tim Hardaway Jr. California? Oh, I suppose he was on the Warriors once upon a time, huh? 92. Tim Hardaway was on the Warriors back then. Okay, got it. Tim Hardaway Jr. is not that young anymore. He's in his 30s already. Jeez, man. He's already in his 30s. Isn't that weird? Yeah, I think it's weird. But no, he's been a really nice player for many years. But didn't really factor much in this most recent game. This game 6 against the, Thunder. Only 6 minutes. It's weird. 2 points. It's really weird. So, I mean, obviously I see him as a threat at times. Dante Exum, I'm not going to trash anybody on Dallas. Last thing I want is to see them come out there and kick our butts. Some stupid, some random role player that you don't expect. Gonzaga has like 6 3-pointers in the fourth quarter, and you're like saying, why the hell didn't we beat Dallas? What the hell, man? Really? We had home court, golden opportunity. Come on. The road to the NBA Finals goes through Target Center, baby. That's right. Daniel Gafford is, again, shot blocker, rebounder. Kind of definitely a big guy. He's had his moments. He's a second-round pick. Nice pick by the Bulls years ago. Did he even play for... Oh, yeah, he did. He did for a little bit. I remember him more as a Washington Wizard, but mostly for fantasy to kind of help out a bit. Because, yeah, he can definitely block shots. He's a guy who's had his minutes kind of come and go throughout his career. But when he's good, he's good. He's a nice shot blocker, over 2 blocks a game. So, yeah, I mean, I could see him and Gobert, and I gotta hope and believe that Gobert can beat Daniel Gafford in a best-of-7 series. I gotta hope so. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I see Jamal Murray, but he's on silent. I'm kind of curious what they're saying, but obviously I probably should go to NBA TV for that, not TNT. If you want to hear what those guys are actually saying. Yes, this is all happening right now. Kyrie Irving, obviously, again, a guy who can be oft injured, but he can also be an absolute killer. He's the guy, when LeBron James was struggling and missing shots like Anthony Edwards, he was missing shots and such in that Game 7 against the Golden State Warriors in 2016. But then who pulled that magic arrow, that silver arrow like in Legend of Zelda, out of his quiver and fired it right between the eyes, bullseye? It was Kyrie Irving. It was that clutch three-point shot that buried the Golden State Warriors ultimately. It was the big three-pointer by Kyrie Irving. He's very clutch. I really appreciate what Kyrie Irving did there because I hate the Warriors so much. So, and no offense to Reese Pedretti out of Brisbane, Australia. I know you're a Warriors fan. But, man, that felt so good. Because, no matter what I felt, Golden State didn't feel bad what I felt because they won 2 more titles in pretty much dominant fashion, went to another finals, and the Toronto Raptors won. And, of course, major players had major injuries. Obviously, Kevin Durant coming back from a calf injury that ended up, seeing his calf like pop because the Achilles tendon popped. Yeah. And then Mr. Klay Thompson unfortunately became Klang Thompson because he had an ACL and then an Achilles after that. Can you believe that? Terrible. That was as he was coming back. He had an Achilles. Like, can you believe that nonsense? So, yeah, unfortunately, Klay Thompson, when you're out that long, he's just not going to be the same guy. It's just a fact. And the Warriors still ended up winning a title versus the Celtics, who, if the Wolves play the Celtics in the finals, you hope they choke it away like they did against the Warriors, because the Wolves will be world champs. And hopefully that happens. I don't want the Dallas Mavericks to win anything. No. So we're going to have to wait and see. Doncic and Kyrie couldn't get past Denver last year. Hopefully they don't get past the Wolves this year. I will predict the Wolves in 6 in this one. I guess it's just kind of a number to come up with, though. It's probably either 5 or 7. But it's like, so it averages out to 6. I'd like to believe the Wolves could beat the Mavericks in 5. I really would. But I'll just say 6 for the average, because it's going to be 5 or 7, I think. If and when the Wolves win the series, it'll be in Target Center. But then again, maybe it doesn't have to be. Maybe the Wolves do close it out in Game 6. So it's kind of like anti what the Mavericks did to the OKC Thunder. So let's hear what you guys had to say. I've done enough babbling now. And it's not on. Oh, it's not up. That's wonderful. That's really dumb. I thought it was, but I can get it in a couple of seconds here. At TWolvesEX, and it's acting really weird. How do you like that? Something went wrong. Okay, good. All I had to do was reload. Good. Jokic said, "I hate these guys. I'm gonna kill them." Ha 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 ha. Yeah, it might be what he's saying. Sorry, I had to check that quick, so kind of on the fly. Wow, very complimentary words from Nikola Jokic. He was like, yeah, we were missing some shots, but it wasn't really us missing. It was their defense was so good. They're the number 1 defense in the NBA. And they were talking about how does it sting, how you weren't able to get it done or something. And he was like, I didn't really hear the question too good because it's off in the distance. But Jokic responded with, I don't really believe in that. He said it's a 7-game series. And if you get beat in a 7-game series, that means the other team is better. So very complimentary words from Nikola Jokic. Yeah, so that was not bad. Yeah, I like that guy. I appreciate Nikola Jokic. I don't like playing against him. Gosh, geez. It's like obviously he gets a lot of calls and such because he's a big, giant cyclops. But I say it in a complimentary way. Yes, I was aggressive and kind of disrespectful at times. But, not really. You know what I mean? Do I respect Nikola Jokic? Yes. Do I respect him even more when I hear things like that? Yeah. He respects the game. He respects his opponents, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate what he had to say. Even Murray, yeah. I mean, obviously, again, the other day when he was like, "Gosh, well, I hope I play better." He wasn't really all that cocky. Every player plays with a cockiness when they're on a roll. That's just kind of how it is. So, again, I apologize for some of my over the top frustrations with Jamal Murray and even the big Cyclops there, Nikola Jokic. So respect sent out to you guys. Obviously, I'm just a crazy fan underneath this objective podcaster are trying to be objective anyway. Sometimes there's a crazy fan hiding underneath there, but hope that wasn't too much. Random Hoop says Wolves fans tonight. T-Wolves X. There's a beer popping. Looks like a Yeti biting into a beer can and it's spraying everywhere. So there you go. Paul Lambert. Yeah, never a doubt. Yep, that would be meat sauce of KFAN. Not a big fan of the show, but I like him though. Out of that group, he's the nicest and he's the most entertaining, I suppose. Jim Peterson says, tweets out, "I'm so happy right now." Not to me, obviously Paul Lambert, not to me either. So, but just those are notables. Yeah. That was funny. Some of this feud between Draymond Green and Rudy Gobert. They're like, "Hey, Draymond, anything you have to say? Anything?" It's just kind of a funny little meme, I guess you could say. This could go on forever. Okay, but well, that's the whole point. You want to enjoy this. Me dropping Cyclops bombs. Yep, I'm not good, am I? Yeah, I mean, just a game where Anthony Edwards had 44 points and the Wolves ended up losing. It was just so disappointing. That was what, game 4? Yeah, God, that was frustrating. So, I think I got. Did I not get to your tweets? Yeah, I did. I thought I did. Levi and everybody. I feel like I didn't read these. That's interesting. Maybe I did. I just didn't click on them, and I apologize for that. Thought I did. I'll start from right here, May 13th. I know it's probably too far back, but I'll go to them anyway. Levi says, "I knew it wasn't going to be easy and expected the Nuggets to win one of the games in Minnesota, but it sucks that episode 4... Okay, yes, this is new. Okay, good. This is new. I'm actually going to back up a little more. I guess it has been a week since the last show, if you can believe it. That was Sunday night, because it has been 3 games. Dang it. How much stuff did I miss? Okay, yeah, that's too far. I just want to make sure that I'm in the right place here, because I hate missing on people's... okay. This has to be it. Looks like Levi might have been the only person to retweet the last one, but I think other people did. But Levi's the one I'm seeing, and you get the gold star for that, Levi. Okay, I knew it wasn't going to be easy and expected the Nuggets to win one of the games in Minnesota, but it sucks that episode 400 could have been talking about another 4-0 sweep. Wouldn't that have been nice? How episode 400, it was a weird one. How I'm out by the fire and just ranting like a lunatic. Not really, but inside I was much angrier. I sounded probably subdued and such, probably like I feel right now. Instead of celebrating and yelling and screaming and cheering, I'm very subdued because this was draining. This was very draining, and at the same time, it's just a nice, wonderful, calm feeling. The Wolves actually got past this Denver team. It's unbelievable. So Levi was continuing his tweet with, "That end of the second half of Game 4 was infuriating. And, of course, that 8-0 run in the last 20 seconds of the half ended up being the final points differential." Yeah, see? Yep. Continuing. Okay, this probably... Yeah, he was saying crazy stat, but also not surprising given Ant was the only one who showed up to play. Yeah, okay, this was Game 4. Anthony Edwards had 44 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He played 45 minutes and 20 seconds, The Wolves won those minutes by 5. Wow. The Wolves won those minutes by 5. Oh, my God. They lost the 2 minutes and 40 seconds he sat by 13 points. Sweet Mother McCree. That definitely wasn't the case in tonight's game, Game 7, but still. Sweet Mother McCree, man. That's unbelievable. Okay, so the retweets, Tanae, Levi, and is that Vince? That is Vince, V-I-N, Rock, 44. Levi and Tanae are from New Zealand. Vince Germano is, of course, from Australia, Melbourne, in the Victoria Province. So we will continue. Yeah, because unfortunately Game 5 and 6 also happened since the last episode. So this is not all just a Game 7, which is fine. Tanae says, Wolves need to play with some urgency. I saw out of the Knicks tonight. Yep, that team just hustles nonstop for every rebound and loose ball. And that's kind of what happened tonight. Early on, I was cursing and yelling about the rebounds, and then we started getting those rebounds along with the defense. What was happening here? Yes, I was saying I'm tired of this series. I've developed an ungodly hatred for the Denver Nuggets. This was during Game 5, I believe. Yes. Nathaniel Rustler says, Laker fans too. I was saying I don't blame you one bit. They become a very unlikable team. I don't think any of us want to see them win another championship ever again. Their fans are jerks too. Yeah, I'm a little bit over the top, aren't I? So it wasn't like the meanest, rudest thing ever, but it's certainly... Ah, he's from Colorado. I see. I see what you're saying. He's just mocking like, yeah, well, Laker fans too. Nah, 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 nah. Okay. I get it. I gotcha. You son of a gun. Anyhow, Tanae Brown says a team built to beat Jokic and still can't overcome him. He's just too talented. I hope the Celtics get them in the finals. Yeah, well, it sure felt like that's what it was going to be, didn't it? Now it might be Wolves and Celtics. Might be Wolves. You know, we have to beat Dallas first, obviously. I'm not overlooking the Dallas Mavericks at all, and Timberwolves, don't you dare overlook the Dallas Mavericks. And I got to think they're professional enough to take care of business first. You have to be, because just look at it this way. You lose to the Mavericks, you definitely lost to the weakest of the three teams we've played. So that would be terrible and stupid. Continuing, I was saying, we just can't have nice things here. I'm tired of it. And little did I know, as I was kind of ranting and sad and all that stuff. Oh yeah, I think already my wonderful road bike Trek FX3. Not the blue book value wasn't high, but the sentimental value and the fact it was so comfortable and so light and everything it was stolen as well. So it's like it just was kind of all adding to that. We just can't have nice things. Well, maybe we can win in the sports world. So here we are with the Wolves advancing. Tanae Brown says, I can't believe the Nuggets just rolled over like that. This is Game 6. Last 3 games, it looked like there was absolutely nothing we could do. And then this happens. We need this version of McDaniels in Game 7. And you know what, Tanae? We got it. And you were dead on about that. He's an X factor depending on which version of him turns up. And you are absolutely correct. Yes, Tanae says Gobert was also great. That was Game 6. He got caught on smaller players on the perimeter a few times and showed why he earned that Defensive Player of the Year award. Murray was a mess. Yeah, wasn't he didn't he just only get 10 points? He was terrible, right? I think he was 2 of 10 or something. He was a mess out there. Not sure if it was that elbow injury, but he'd started the game cold. Hopefully he continues to struggle in Game 7. Well, he didn't, but he struggled, he was stymied into not taking shots as the game progressed. Tanae continues, oh, nope, I already read that one. Okay. I was tweeting from Brave the Wild. This is my hockey podcast, Brave the Wild, at Brave the Wild. Now here's hoping the Denver Nuggets comes to an end. Denver Nuggets season comes to an end on Sunday as well, because the Colorado Avalanche has just been knocked out by the Dallas Stars. So I was saying, that sounds good to me. For Wolves coverage, check out at TWolvesEX. Yep, let's see, who retweeted that one? Might have been Derek. That'd be nice. Well, oh, come on, let me see it. I probably have to go to Brave the Wild to even know. That's dumb. This is annoying. It's the most annoying thing ever. You can't even... come on, man. It's so silly. I have to probably click on the whole thing is locked up. Okay, we'll just go back here. Wow. I don't like the way this is behaving. Is the show even still recording? What the heck? Still there? Yep. Looks like you guys are still there. That's good. Of course, I'm putting together a train wreck here the last couple minutes here. I'm like Denver, in the fourth quarter. Train wreck. Okay, I know. That's mean and rude. Does the damn thing work? It's not. Okay, now it did, right when I just turned the... Yeah, it finally worked. This could go on a while if I don't pay attention and get going here. Better get this wrapped up pretty soon. Yeah, I was saying, I really hate to say it. Okay, I'm going to get off that. I better shut up. They overcame what I said. Good job. Good job from my being stupid there. Okay, that was Tanae that retweeted it. So now I do know. The Brave the Wild. So I didn't have to move around like that, did I? It was right above where it was right above. It showed that Tanae retweeted it. Yeah, Levi Brown says, have to admit after the uncompetitive Game 3 and 4 losses at home, I thought the Nuggets were going to take this series 4-2. I did as well, Levi. I really did. It was it's going to be Nuggets in 6, isn't it? So freaking frustrating. And, yep, that was when I was out there with the fire, watching Game 4 and just feeling sick to myself. And thought that was reinforced when we lost Game 5. Yep. Game 6 was a stunning bounce-back win, regardless of what happens in Game 7. And, well, I'm glad things happened the way they did in Game 7, as scary as that was. Here we go into Game 7 tweets. Here it goes. Levi said, Wolves look terrified of the moment, but find themselves up early. This has all the makings of a Game 7. Low scoring. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Physical, and I feel like it's going to come down to who can execute their offense down the stretch. And thankfully, it was us. Denver missed a lot of shots, and our defense was pretty good. I was saying I'm beside myself with the endless miscornered threes. Yeah, it just kept happening. Murray was starting to get hot. Tonight said, seems like we're barely even running an offense, letting the shot clock wind down before anything's happening. Yeah, that was all that. That happened quite a bit, especially in the first half, but even well into the third. Then we just finally started making something and getting in. People like Gobert with a pretty distant turnaround shot. That was a shocker. Got the whole bench up on their feet. I think that's what put the Wolves up by 6, and it's like, oh my God, we may actually win this game. Like, destiny's on our side. And, yep, it was in so many ways. The 20-year anniversary of the Wolves getting past the Sacramento Kings. But that was at home. And Sacramento was not as good as this Denver team. I'm going to keep saying that. Tanae Brown says, I don't know if I can watch this. Horrific offense, inconsistent officiating. Yeah, it was all over the place. It was real tight. And then, now we're going to let him play. Now we're going to call it. Now we're going to let him play. Yep. And just a dead superstar in Edwards. Pathetic. Sure felt that way, didn't it? Jeez. Yeah. Yep, and Aaron Gordon was grabbing Karl Anthony Towns. That was another one. Today another one says, how many open shots is Towns gonna pass up and defer to the offense to Naw and McDaniels? McDaniels, it was okay in this one, but Naw, my God, he couldn't make anything. Vince Germano said, you blokes need to relax. Too much doom and gloom. Tanae responded, yep, and Vince ended up coming through for us, didn't you? Didn't you, Vince? Didn't you? Look at you. Tanae says, we were horrid in the first half. Would love to know what Finch said to them. Yep, as things started to really change in that fourth quarter. Ali Muhammad was saying Draymond deserves his apology. Yep, because I was ranting about, I was saying I really hate to say this, Rudy Gobert and Conley never got past the second round. So, they proved me wrong, and good job, guys. Keep it up. Win the championship. That'd be the ultimate way. Draymond was laughing, and I was saying, bleep that guy. Yeah, because I don't like him. I don't like Draymond Green. Oh, let's follow this guy back. Or actually, he didn't follow me at all. I hope I didn't scare him away. Who knows? Well, I followed him, so. I said, yep, and later on I was like, I'm absolutely stunned and almost, because I went completely dead. As things started to catch up, it's like, I just want to stay off Twitter. Just shut up. I don't know if it's jinx or whatever. I don't like to believe in that kind of stuff, but it just feels like it sometimes. I just wanted to shut up. I'd said enough crap, and then it's like, okay, they're inching back in it. Okay, now they're within 10. Now it's less than 10. Now it's 6. They're within 4. Come on, guys, make the shot. I'll get the rebound. They're back down by. Now they're within 3. Now it's a 2-point game. Now the Wolves are up. Oh my God. They're up. And then it was just kind of a gradual thing. Like a really good, the best type of stock for a lot of people that want to gradually accumulate shares, where the stock gradually goes up, but it keeps going up. And I guess that was the Timberwolves in this game, and it was absolutely wonderful. This was much, I read this earlier, but I'll read it again. To anybody irritated with all my negativity, I apologize, and I'm just so happy right now. Tanae Brown says, brother, I was right there with you. Yep, with negativity and frustration, yeah. But I probably went too far, and I apologize, and all the crap I said, so I apologize to Murray and Jokic if I sounded a little too much, a little too obnoxious, so I do apologize, woman, at the end of the day. So, and again, Random Hoops, that would be Reese Pedretti out of Brisbane, Australia, saying, Wolves fans tonight, and yep, God bless you in so many ways. Reese Pedretti, love you. Obviously love Vince Germano saying we need to settle down. And Vince, you're a man of reason. I'm not following Kendrick Perkins. What's up with that? Well, I'm following him now. I'm sorry, Kendrick. I'm sure he missed me so much, right? But no, it's I'm happy to be a part of Twitter with Twitter or X, Twitter, whatever, with Kendrick Perkins. Obviously, he loves us, or at least I love to believe he does. And I will continue to say Wolves in 6 over the Dallas Mavericks to represent the Western Conference in the NBA Finals. Celtics and Indiana Pacers, probably the Celtics in like 5 or 6, but you never know. Maybe that might take 7, because Indiana is tough. The Knicks were pretty battered and injured, though, as well. And, so that's how that goes, unfortunately. I tweeted Dan Barreiro, absolutely one for the history books, because something he'd said. He said, everything you could hope for, a masterpiece of a comeback. And I said, absolutely one for the history books. Apparently, a lot of people like that tweet, so that's nice. Thank you, those of you that 1 in a million chance you're listening, but I would appreciate if you do. Tanae Brown says, really looking forward to the upcoming podcast, mate. And yep, here it is, because I jumped on it right away, because guess what? Tomorrow's Monday, and it's going to be lawns, and Tuesday, lawns, Wednesday, lawns. But maybe there'll be some rain days, so maybe I could have waited, but I'm not going to take my chances. I'd rather come out with the energy tonight and enjoy this wonderful moment with you, and really appreciate every one of you for putting up with my nonsense, and also the fact that I disappeared in the second half. Of course, the follower numbers is always fluctuating, but it's never really growing all that much, unfortunately, because again, this is a secondary Twitter where the other one was suspended for a while, and if I jump back to it, it feels like it's just not getting anywhere anyway. So that's kind of why I'm on this one, where the follower numbers are low. It was over 1,000 on the other Twitter. It was suspended during all that, that summer of politics is what it really was, in my opinion, in 2020. It became a very political summer for the NBA and for sports and for everything, basically. So it kind of was what it was at the time. And I don't know, it's like I was like too much politics, basically, and that kind of put me in trouble at the time, unfortunately. So they were like, screw you, go away, basically. So, okay, fine. So I recreated the Twitter, because that one wasn't coming back. Anyhow, I've made my point about 15 times, and again, thank every one of you so much for listening to the show, and congratulations, Minnesota Timberwolves. We get to talk about the Western Conference Finals on Timberwolves Explosion. Yeah, I kept thinking, man, one of these days, all those years ago, it's like it was only 4 years before the Timberwolves went to the Western Conference Finals. It was 4 years before I started podcasting, and here we are, finally doing a Western Conference Final now with the Timberwolves involved. Timberwolves Explosion. But we're in the 400 episode range now. This is episode 401. It took 401 episodes to get there, but here we are in the West Finals. Now let's see if the NBA Finals are next. We're going to keep up the best we can here on Timberwolves Explosion. Please tell your friends about the show. Please, please do. Don't be afraid to call in. All you got to do is pick up your smart device, use your free voice recording app that they all have built in, or you could even download one. Record a call from anywhere from whatever. If it's 30 seconds, if it's 10 minutes, you're more than welcome to come here and talk, and you'll be included in fan interaction. In fact, you'll lead it off. Fan interaction. You get to celebrate a Timberwolves championship, I hope, or a conference championship at the time before we win the NBA title, or whatever. You want to send something now as well, of course. Please do put a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever app that allows you to do so. It'd be great. Otherwise, I've talked enough. My wife's probably ticked off at me for talking too much and taking so long. So, again, it's amazing, though. Historic night, and thank you for celebrating it with me. Hope all of you have a wonderful time, and go Timberwolves in the conference finals.